Normally, if somebody's in a social situation and they don't really know anybody there, they'll tend to not talk to anybody or not be a huge conversationalist. Why? I think it's largely because people tend to be afraid of rejection. I know it's a common thing to say that that's irrational and stupid to be afraid of rejection, because, what's the worst thing that's going to happen? They're just going to say no and you'll move on with your life. But I think there are a few reasons why people are afraid of rejection. First off, you can be afraid that you'll be publicly humiliated. The idea is that you just go up and talk to someone, and I'm not talking about like hitting on someone, it can just be trying to make a friend. But if you go up and talk to someone, and they say no, then you could be publicly humiliated. If they're with other people and they see you get rejected in that way, you could be perceived as a loser and people could laugh at you. Another way is it could hurt your self-esteem. If you try and be friends with someone, or you try and hit on somebody, or anything of that nature, and they reject you, you can maybe feel bad about yourself. Like, what did I do wrong? Did I screw something up? What did I do to not deserve that person's approval? Also, it can be a reminder of the fact that you are alone. If you're just sitting there alone, but you make no attempts to branch out, you can just feel like you're alone because you're not branching out. But you could be with people if you wanted to. But if you try and branch out to people and they reject you, then that can once again remind you just how lonely you are, and it's beyond your control. You can just feel like I suck and there's nothing I can do about it. On the one hand, I want to say it's irrational to hold this fear of getting rejected, because in the grand scheme of things, all of the elements that I mentioned are just psychological, and there is no actual harm done. Even if you are humiliated in front of a few people, it really doesn't matter. And as for your self-esteem, if you just have problems where someone says no and you just lose your shit, that's your problem. But I still am afraid of rejection. I don't like getting rejected by people. I don't like getting told that I suck, or anything of that nature, really. Today, when I went out to lunch, it was just like in a big buffet-style type of cafe thing, and I didn't know anybody there, so I just tried sitting down with some people, and I said, "Hey, how are you?" And they just grabbed their stuff and moved away. So I tried doing that with a second table, and once again, they moved their stuff and moved away. I went to a third group, and they stayed there, but it was really, really awkward. They gave me a very awkward vibe, like they weren't including me in the group. I would try to introduce myself to them and talk to them, but they made it clear that they weren't really interested in that. They weren't going to flat out reject me, but they just weren't acknowledging me. And once again, it really doesn't matter that they rejected me in this manner. It doesn't have any sort of negative reflection on my life or substantial impact, but it's just a fear that we have. We don't like it. It makes us feel bad. It makes us feel insignificant. Although some people have better social skills than others, and some people are better at getting along in a social situation than others, I think everybody, to some degree, has some fear of rejection. They don't like getting told that they aren't wanted there, or getting the body language or the vibe that they aren't wanted there. Ultimately, I think it all boils down to a fear of failure. We want to feel like what we're doing right. We want to feel like we're secure in our ability to survive. And if you're getting rejected, then you're failing. Because nobody likes to fail, or at least fail at something that you're trying, something that you think is important enough for you to step out of your comfort zone and talk to somebody that you don't know, and you don't know how they'll react to you. If you're doing that, you're taking a chance. And nobody wants to fail in something that they're really, really invested in. So I guess people just find it better to not invest at all. And that's why people don't talk to each other.